Hey everybody, what's happening? Hey, it's James back here once again. I wasn't really planning on doing so much here in the VC, but for whatever reason, I've been inspired. It's like catching lightning in a bottle. I'll take it. I'll take the inspiration when it comes. But yeah. Anyway, I did an Art Farmer thing a few weeks ago, and did some Woody Shaw, and it wasn't really planned to do all these trumpet spotlights. But I guess it's like jazz, just improvising. It just kind of came to me, and I listened to some Tolliver today, Charles Tolliver, and I thought, hey, let's talk about Charles Tolliver. We all love Tolliver, but yeah, let's talk about him, or I'll try to give you my take on the one and only Charles Tolliver. Um, the thing that distinguishes Charles Tolliver for me from some of the other greats is his compositions. I mean, obviously, Donald Byrd and Clifford Brown and Lee Morgan and all those guys, they were writing great music too, but Charles Tolliver seems to have his own sort of separate pocket of his style of compositions. Very, what's the word? Kind of like far-reaching, exploratory maybe. Deep music that he wrote. Yeah, I love Charles Tolliver. It's sort of almost doesn't do it justice, how I feel about Tolliver. Very special player, great, and again, like I said, great composer and great arranger as well. So yeah, I have a number of Tolliver solo LPs. I think I'm missing maybe one or two, and then I have a bunch of his work as a sideman too. So, but Tolliver, he was born in Jacksonville, Florida, I think 1942, and then he was going to Howard University. He was studying pharmacology, I think, but he always knew that wasn't going to be his career. He wanted to be a musician. So he goes to New York at one point, and according to the story, and there's actually an interview with him about this on YouTube, where a friend of a friend of Jackie McLean's, says, "Hey Charles, Jackie McLean's looking for a trumpet player." So he goes to meet up with Jackie McLean, and Jackie's like, "Well, what do you got?" And basically on one meeting, for lack of a better term, tryout, he says, "Well, I have a record date. I want you to be my trumpet player." And it turned out to be the It's Time album, the Jackie McLean It's Time album. And then from there, he just kept on gigging with, I think, Art Blakey, Gerald Wilson, some other ones, a lot of different people before he put out his first official record. And so I'll get into that. And these are, a lot of you have these records and know these records. But let's talk about them. The first one is Paper Man on Arista Freedom, 1968. And you have Gary Bartz, Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, and Joe Chambers. What a lineup for your first record, stepping right into the fire. So yeah, Charles Tolliver, Paper Man. And then he followed that up with The Ringer on Arista Freedom as well. And this lineup was Stanley Cowell, Steve Novosel, and Jimmy Hops. And some of the songs on here that became kind of standards for him that he did on other albums, like The Plight and On the Nile. Very exploratory tracks, great tone. And these two, some of the best music ever, really, of any genre. The Live at Slugs series, the Live at Slugs Volume 1, and the Live at Slugs Volume 2. Incredible music. Again, you can search for words and adjectives and ways to describe things. Far-reaching, exploratory is how I feel with this music. it pushes. It's sort of on the edge of like getting into like avant-garde territory, but it always keeps 1 foot. He always keeps like 1 foot in kind of the hard bop tradition too. So there's really nice balance on these records. And you know, you look at the so serious and dedicated there. It's like high art. This isn't just music. This is high art. Charles Tolliver, Live at Slugs, Volume 1 and Volume 2. These aren't in any necessarily order. This is the Compassion record, a later Strata East. This was recorded in '77, I believe. The lineup with Nathan Page on guitar, very, very rare for Tolliver to have a guitar. I don't know if he had guitar on any other of his records. Steve Novosel on bass and Alvin Queen on drums. This is, if you know this record, I have a kind of a weird copy of this. This is a reissue of it from 1980. Yeah, on the Audio Fidelity series. But yeah, I remember I got this, just as a side note, I got this in Paris, maybe, I don't know, 17, 18 years ago, and I was there. I have lots of French family. My mother was with me, and I was in the store, and I already blown all my cash on other records, and I saw this, and I really wanted it, and Mom says, here, let me get it for you. So, Mom, thank you for this Tolliver record. Great, great album. Charles Tolliver, Music Inc. Compassion from '77. Here's another live date. Impact, Charles Tolliver Impact. And technically, it's Music Inc. is really like, that was his band. So this is Impact on the Enja label. This is live, 1972 in Germany. The lineup is Stanley Cowell, Ron Mathewson, and Alvin Queen on drums. 4 tracks, all long tracks, 7 minutes, a 15-minute Brilliant Circles, 9-minute Truth, and a 15-minute Prayer for Peace. Just incredible, incredible music. Charles Tolliver. Another Music Inc. And what is this actually called? It's just really Music Inc. And this was recorded in 1970. This has a very big band. You have, besides Tolliver, on trumpet, you have Richard Williams, Virgil Jones, Larry Greenwich, Danny Moore. You have Jimmy Heath, Clifford Jordan, and on trombone, Garnett Brown, Curtis Fuller. You have a lot of players on here. So it's like a big band situation for Charles Tolliver on this one. But you still have Stanley Cowell, Jimmy Hops, and Cecil McBee as sort of the core unit on that one. And then the last album of his as a solo is the one of his that just came out a few years ago. This is just Connect on the Gearbox label. I think he had a Blue Note record that came out maybe 4 or 5 years before this. But this was his latest one. Really, really solid record. He has some veterans on this, you know, kind of helping him into the 21st century, so to speak. Buster Williams on bass, Lenny White, and then I think these are some British musicians, some younger guys, Jesse Davis and Keith Brown. But this is Charles Tolliver Connect on Gearbox. He's still at his full powers here. Charles Tolliver Connect is a really nice one. So there's a bunch of records I have of his as a sideman. Not all of them, surely, but a lot of them. So this was his first record, like I mentioned earlier, his first professional date, Jackie McLean, It's Time, with Herbie Hancock, Cecil McBee, and Roy Haynes. In that interview I mentioned, he talked about how just walking into that session in Blue Note and seeing Alfred Lyons and knowing he was playing with these other guys, and he says to this day, this is still his favorite thing he's ever been on, whether solo or not. This is still his favorite date that he's ever played on. Amazing memory that he has. Another one, he was on the Jackie McLean Action album, and actually this is still a sealed copy. Believe it or not, I had the CD of this about 100 years ago. Then when this got reissued about 20 years ago, I got the LP, but for some reason I never actually played it. So I still have a sealed copy, believe it or not. Just a weird thing. I'll open it one of these days. He was on this one, the Blue Note reissue series from the 70s. He's on side 1 and side 2 of this. And I don't know if I can't remember if that session ever came out on as an individual album. I don't think on LP, maybe on CD. But yeah, and he has some of his he does a version of his On the Nile on this one. So yeah, and that was recorded in 1965. So he's on that Jackie McLean, the what's that, Jackknife. He reunites with Gary Bartz on this one. Gary Bartz, Another Earth on Milestone. Incredible album. Gary Bartz, Charles Tolliver, Pharoah Sanders, Stanley Cowell, Reggie Workman, and Freddie Waits. What a lineup, what a band. Charles Tolliver's on that one, as it's supposed to be. He plays on this one, Andrew Hill, Dance with Death, a classic Blue Note White Border series, as I like to call them. This is from 1968. Joe Farrell, Charles Tolliver, Victor Spruill, and the great Billy Higgins on drums on this one. Andrew Hill, Dance with Death. He played with Horace Silver, Serenade to a Soul Sister on Blue Note. I don't know what year this, this is 68. So he's doing a lot of work in 68. This one, it's an interesting lineup. Tolliver, Stanley Turrentine, Horace Silver, Bob Cranshaw, and Mickey Roker on this one. Benny Maupin plays a little bit of this. And Billy Cobham's on this too. A young Billy Cobham. Pre-Spectrum Billy Cobham on that one. McCoy Tyner, Song for My Lady. Tolliver puts in some fine work on this one, along with Sonny Fortune. Interesting front line, right? Sonny Fortune and Charles Tolliver, along with Michael White on violin. So very interesting session here with McCoy Tyner. Outstanding record, Max Roach, Members Don't Get Weary. With Stanley Cowell, Gary Bartz again, Jimmy Merritt, and of course Max Roach's Lear. This is one of the great ones. I was just going to say, if you don't have this, pick it up, but you could say that about a lot of records. And the Equipose on here, I mean, one of the best songs ever, right? Yeah. The New Wave of Jazz, the Impulse comp. I can't remember, Tolliver's listed on here, and I can't remember how many songs he does on this one, but I'm pretty sure I used to have a CD of this. There's a CD version of this that has bonus tracks, maybe 3 or 4 extra tracks that weren't on this. There's an extra Gresham Encore track, I think an extra Tolliver, and something else. So yeah, the New Wave of Jazz Impulse comp that came out I think in 65, 66. A few more to go. He's on this Booker Irvin, Structurally Sound. Sorry about this. This is on Pacific Jazz. Interesting label for this one. And I have this in this thing. I don't feel like opening up. I don't remember what the lineup is. This isn't the greatest album. I don't like this that much, but it's been a long time, so I'll have to throw that one on, Booker Irvin. Really nice record too. He's on the Roy Ayers, Virgo Vibes. I think Joe Henderson's on this too. Yeah, Joe Henderson, Reggie Workman, Bruno Carr on drums, Ronnie Clark on piano. This is 1967, so this is a very early session for Mr. Tolliver, the one and only Charles Tolliver. Yeah, and then the last one I have is another session he did with Andrew Hill, again on the Blue Note reissue series that came out in the 70s, this One for One. Tolliver is he's only on one side of this, and again, just like with that Jackie McLean, I can't remember if the music on that side one came out on CD on another album, like whatever that was titled. They did these weird things of splitting these things up, and sometimes the CD came out later. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to do a quick run through of Charles Tolliver and his career and output. Again, like I said, there's only so many words and adjectives that describe these things, and I think there's other people that are more eloquent than myself, and certainly writers who can put into words what the feeling is of his music and his compositions. But he's one of a kind, Charles Tolliver. It's like it's hard to say who your favorite is because it changes from day to day and time to time and whatever you're listening to. But Tolliver has, again, like I repeating myself, he has that special compositional quality, far-reaching, like I've said for the third time, just exploratory music. I'll say that for maybe the fifth time. But yeah, check out some Charles Tolliver if you aren't familiar, or you need to get. A lot of these records have been reissued of any forms, and even his leader ones, like his Strata East stuff. And actually, that's one thing I forgot to mention. I know that everyone really knows this, but that's the other thing too, the very important piece of history I forgot is in 1971 when he founded Strata East with Stanley Cowell. So beyond him being just such an important musician, he was also very important in the jazz community as far as trying to create an avenue for artists to do the work they wanted to do without your record company bureaucracy getting in the way. So he was very important in terms of lifting up the community and caring about artists and musicians, having integrity and doing the work they wanted to do without red tape getting in the way. So I just wanted to throw in that last little bit that I wanted to mention. But yeah, that's it, James. Another jazz trumpet series. I don't know if I'll do another one, but we'll just see which way the wind blows. All right, thank you for watching. Take care. Later. Bye.